Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing good. Let's have a positive start first before we move ahead. We must accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope. Simple to say and simple to understand, right? We may face failures, and I have said this thing, and you can observe this thing, that you will fail on regular basis, on every single day, right? You will fail here and there, but that's fine. You should never lose hope. This is one of the most important thing, right? This is you can say a victory gene, you can say that you have in yourself. If you never lose hope, if you are facing disappointment and defeats and everything, but then again, if you are ready to stand up one more time, then this is a material that you have in you that will lead you to victory. Now, the first item that we have is coming from Jammu and Kashmir. All-party meeting chaired by J&K Chief Minister has called for a sort of, all different parties have gathered together and they have spoken one word, that there should be environment of peace or atmosphere of peace in the valley. In last couple of weeks, we have seen this thing that a small school child or school bus was basically, stone pelting was carried on school bus and a small child got severely injured because of this thing. A tourist from Chennai passed away. He was killed because of this stone pelting. And this sort of things, this attack on civilians, operations going on, and all these things are basically creating this hostility environment. And this is not good for the people of Jammu and Kashmir and for the people of our country, isn't it? So this needs to be, chalked. We need to stop this thing. And for this, we need all parties to come on board. All people living in Jammu and Kashmir, they have to stand up, they have to rise up. You have a small population who wants to create this troubles in this part of our country, but because of this all things, this stone pelting and this disturbances and other things, all those people, hardworking people who want to see a bright future for themselves and for their kids and for their generations to come, they are not able to do that because of all these things. So a small chunk of people, maybe 1%, 2% people are creating these troubles, and because of them 98% population is facing this defamation, and tourism is not coming over there and other things. And apart from that, we have Ramzan month, as well as Amarnath Yatra will resume soon. So it's very important that we create this peaceful environment here. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams. As you can see on your screen, the items that we cater. And to find out more about it, check out StudyIQ.com. Let me tell you one thing, that this pen drive and tablet courses are designed by best faculties of our country. If you want to download the PDF of today's discussion, you will get it from my Facebook page and Twitter handle. If you learn something from today's discussion, then please don't forget to hit that like button, as well as I may request you guys to share this lecture with other students. You can share it on your social networking site as well. Moving on to another item, second item that we have is coming from Ministry of External Affairs. Basically a stand that has been taken by India as far as this Iran nuclear deal is concerned. We know that Mr. Trump has rejected or abolished, or basically he has said that USA is stepping out from this deal. This deal we have talked about many times, that it is a deal that took place under United Nations umbrella. It's an international community deal. One country cannot kick it away. But anyways, what we need now is dialogue and diplomacy. This is an advice coming from India. The dialogue and diplomacy should guide all the countries, all the parties who are associated with this Iran nuclear deal, or JCPOA. The other thing is, as far as this Iran nuclear deal is concerned, if you think from India's perspective, then you will find that, see, USA has rejected this deal now, so USA will apply sanctions on Iran. So when sanctions will be applied, this will create direct threats as well as challenges and problems for Chabahar port that is developed by our country. We have invested heavily in Chabahar port. This is a window for us to access Central Asian country, to help Afghanistan to get in touch with Moscow and other countries. So it is going to create problems for us. So this is one of the reason, and there are European countries out there, they are again not happy with this decision. So let's wait and watch. But so far this thing is not just going on between Iran and USA, it is directly and indirectly will create challenges for our country as well. Moving on to another item, this is again a very important international news. Three Korean Americans were held in by Korea. They were in custody, but now they are released. One is a missionary, two are teachers out of these three people, and they are in good health. Another big news coming from these two countries is that a meeting is going to take place between Mr. Trump and Kim Jong-un. Yes, you are listening to the right thing, that a meeting is, it may look surprising, it may look unbelievable, but yes, a meeting is going to take place on 12th of June. This meeting will take place in Singapore, but it's too early to say whether we will reach here or not, because there are many ups and downs. There are many things that you have to calculate before you say that this meeting will take place. Now recently, as you know, that we are trying to cover backlog here, so I can add some extra things here. Recently North Korea said that South Korea is a country that is not capable of dealing with things, because a news was there that South Korea and USA, they are going to conduct a joint drill, and this is something that is not acceptable to North Korea. After ages, we have seen that North Korea and South Korea, they are interacting with each other. We also discussed this thing that North Korean leader visited South Korea. It is also believed that South Korean current prime minister is a very seasoned diplomat. He is very sophisticated diplomat. He knows how to execute things, and it is also said that because of him, North Korea has, or this was his strategy that has worked, that North Korea should engage with South Korea. And how it all started, this Winter Olympics, and after that two top leaders, one is National Security Advisor and the other one is you can say Intelligence Bureau Chief of South Korea, right? These two important leaders from South Korea, they visited North Korea. They had a meeting with Kim Jong-un, and after this meeting, I think National Security Advisor met Xi Jinping, and IB chief met Shinzo Abe. Japanese and Chinese governments were informed about this meeting and their outcome. After that, both this leader headed towards USA. Together, they met Mr. Trump, and they briefed Mr. Trump, and they also passed this message to Mr. Trump that Kim Jong-un is interested in having a chat with Mr. Trump. He's ready to sort out relationship with USA, and this was taken positively by Mr. Trump, and it was declared that a meeting will take place. I have delivered a special video lecture on this thing as well. I have discussed about many red flags, that means many warning signs or many things that we need to keep in mind before we come to a conclusion that this meeting will denuclearize all things, because expectations from both the parties are quite different, or many times quite conflicting with each other. But let's wait and watch. So far things are looking good. Very important news item coming from IMF. Now this type of things, generally speaking, students don't pay that much attention to these things, but as a teacher, as an educator, I would like to draw your attention to this report. The name of this report is Asia and Pacific Regional Economic Outlook. It is released or produced by International Monetary Fund. Remember this information, because MCQ can be asked based on this type of information. World Bank coming out with which report, IMFs, or whether this Asia, they will not ask you. Means this year you can expect a simple question, this one, like Asia and Pacific Regional Economic Outlook is produced by which country, and then they will give you options like IMF and World Bank, and you know, this sort of things. So remember this item, don't forget. Now let's go to this news item. What it's trying to tell us, it is saying that India is going to be the most, you can say, the fastest growing major economy in the world in 2018 and 19, because we are going to touch somewhere around 7.4 to 7.8% 6% growth. I have as a special topic Make in India, how we can boost Make in India. And this type of questions can be asked directly in your mains examination. You could be asked a straight question, discuss or point out ways through which we can boost Make in India. And the things that we are going to discuss today, I'm confident that they will help you a lot in understanding this thing. Now, this IMF report is saying that demonetization and GST implementations negative impacts have gone, their effects have gone, and things are recovering now. And they are in good shape. With this, we are moving towards Afghanistan and Tajikistan. And from your screen, from the picture on your screen, you can, I'm sure you have judged that we are going to talk about an earthquake, isn't it? Now, the thing is, dear friends, an earthquake was registered here, 6.1 Richter scale, and the tremors were felt in India as well. Parts of Punjab and Haryana felt this tremors of this earthquake that took place here in the border between somewhere nearby border of Afghanistan and Tajikistan. Now, I have a question for you. Why you find, which mountain range? First question is the mountain range, that you find here in this part. And the other thing is, this is something that you have to do as your self-study for your own understanding. Find out why you find this sort of earthquakes taking place in this part of the world, right? Once you find out the name, do go for this question as well. Another item coming from Prime Minister's office. As we are speaking now, we know that the Prime Minister has already been there visiting Nepal. He has been there in Nepal. This was his third visit. And the good thing about, I'll give you a gist of things, what's going on between India and Nepal. First of all, let me tell you that this visit is important because within a month, Prime Minister Oli was here, and now there is this reciprocal visit by our Prime Minister within a month indicates that we are trying to bring this warmth in this relationship. We know, if we go back in the history a couple of years ago, then we know this whole political process that was going on. When I say political process, I'm talking about constitution making, right? That was going on, and we have seen many ups and downs in Nepal, political ups and downs. Many people lost their lives and sacrifice, and so many things have gone and have taken place, I mean to say. And we also saw this economic blockade by India. This was rejected by Nepal. People of Nepal were not happy about it. And the current Prime Minister as well has, this, when he was here, he talked about this thing. So now basically we want, this meeting indicates that we want to ensure that we are having cordial relationship with our neighboring country. The other thing is we have a very important defense relationship with Nepal, isn't it? Gurkha Battalion. People of Nepal have served in Indian defense forces for a very long period of time. They are very important part of our defense strength, and this is a very important defense relationship that we share with our neighboring country called Nepal. Other thing is we have this roti-beti relationship. Roti-beti relationship basically means, roti means we break bread with each other. At the same time, when we say beti relationship, we have matrimonial relationship with each other as well. So people to people contact is, reasonably speaking, very good, right? Other thing is, if we talk about neighborhood first policy, then as well Nepal is important. India, we have in our country somewhere around 75+% population is they follow Hinduism. Nepal is a Hindu country, so in this is a thread as well that is connecting both these countries here. It is a part of SAARC, it is part of our neighborhood, Himalaya, joint biodiversity. We have also said this thing that Nepal, we are ready to become Sherpa of Nepal, right? We are ready to become Sherpa. Sherpa are, this navigators. They are very brave community of Nepal, and they are, some Sherpas are living in our country as well. So we are ready to become a navigator for this Nepal in their overall development. So this is a message. And then we have Janakpur and Muktinath places. These are also like you can say lighthouse for, or indicating that there is a strong cultural and religious, ancient religious ties with both the countries. We are also helping Nepal with Arun 3 hydro power project, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister during this visit. President of our country, Ramnath Kovind visited Siachen. Siachen is, as you know, the toughest war field and the highest war field in the world. It is very challenging to serve over there. And after 14 years, we are witnessing this thing. Earlier on, back in 2004, our all-time favorite APJ Abdul Kalam visited this place in 2004, and now Kovind has visited this place. So this is of course going to boost the morale and spirit of our soldiers who are guarding there, this Siachen. And remember, President is the supreme commander of our defense forces. Ministry of External Affairs has got a news that our minister Sushma Swaraj is in Myanmar. She is going to interact with her counterpart. She will meet top leaders over there. And again, Myanmar is part of our neighborhood. It is together we share this platform of BIMSTEC, right? We are member of BIMSTEC. We are neighbors, of course, and ASEAN, right? Myanmar is important country of ASEAN, and India ASEAN relationship are also very cordial. Remember, Myanmar is not part of SARC, so keep this thing in mind. 7 agreements are expected to be, in fact, have been signed, and we talked about Rohingya crisis as well. Aadhaar card reservation means not reservation, but Aadhaar card's verdict has been kept in reservation or reserved by the Supreme Court. So let's wait and watch what will be the stand of Supreme Court on this Aadhaar. Another item that we have is coming from this Ministry of River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. Now, dear friends, it's a very common thing, you know it very well, that we need to protect Ganga River. We need to clean it, we need to sort it out, all the problems and chemicals and other things that we find. We need to get rid of these things. Now, of course, these basic things you would be knowing about. When I say basics, I'm talking about environment, you know, flora and fauna, species getting extincted. All these things are there, people's health and other things. But one thing that not generally we think about is this, you know, geography of this river Ganga, or things associated with geography and human beings. Now, if you see Amazon is largest river of the world. Nile is the longest river of the world. Ganga is certainly the biggest in our country, no doubt. But do you know that the people who are directly dependent on Ganga, the population, or you can say that if you compare rivers and people dependent on these different rivers, you find that maximum number of people, the highest number of people in the world dependent on any one particular river is Ganga. So this is a very important point. And if Ganga is getting more and more polluted, then we are talking about this whole belt, these 5 states of our country. At the same time, you will observe that these states are one of the most populated states as well, like Uttar Pradesh. Let's take one example of Uttar Pradesh. If it would have been a country, then it would be 5th, you can say, most populated country in the world. So you can imagine that if Ganga is not healthy, then health of all these people and their livelihood will be jeopardized. Then you have Atal Tinkering Mission, or Atal Tinkering Lab. Basically, it was introduced 6 months ago in our country, and what we find here that you know, these things are going on very well. I think last year it was introduced. We have talked about this thing, I'm sure, Atal Tinkering Lab and things. I provided you pictures and all these things. It should be there with you because I have shared that PDF as well with you guys, so you can revise it. Now the thing is, awards are been given for this best labs, and it is a school level lab, and main job or agenda or aim here is to create scientific temper in our young mind. Now, coming on to this Make in India topic, two incidents or two recent developments that are going on, not incidents but developments that have taken place. The first one is this report of Harvard University Center for International Development said that India is going to be the fastest growing economy in coming decade with an annual GDP growth rate of 7.9%. This is a good news. We just talked about IMF, and now you have another institution saying that India is going to be fastest for next 10 years. This is a good news for us. But why we are going to achieve this thing? Because now we have started, you can say, brushing our skills, or we have started basically dealing with this more complex sector as far as manufacturing is concerned. The other thing is USA and China are against each other. They are always in this seeking opportunity to checkmate each other. USA is accusing China is accusing USA's companies and things like that. So this thing is going on, and this brings opportunity for our country. We can make sure that we can urge all these foreign companies to transfer their manufacturing hub in our country. If you go back in history, this business process outsourcing as far as IT, information technology sector is concerned, it has changed the story of our country, isn't it? The service sector has been developed, and India is at present a important player, global player as far as IT world is concerned. This whole thing started with two companies when they came or they transferred their operations in India, British Airways and you have General Electric. These two companies back in 1997, beg your pardon, 1997, they started their operations in India, and since then we have seen this, the story now. So same thing can take place. We can change our future if we can ask this manufacturing, or we can create this environment so that manufacturing companies can come here. But that thing is going to be enough? I don't think so. And the reason why this topic is important is because we have to ask this question, that why we find these big brands when it comes to high-end technological products, they are from Germany, Japan or USA or other developed world. Why don't we see our companies ruling the world when it comes to high-end technologies? Why don't we see our companies as innovators? Why don't we see our companies or our companies from India playing or becoming a world global brand? And why Asian countries trade mostly in textiles and electronics? Have you ever thought about these things? I don't think so. The reason is we have to understand this thing with the help of this wheel and spoke, right? Wheel and spoke. You have this, you can say not the wheel and spoke, but you have this wheel here. Say, for example, I'm not that good in painting, but we can have this wheel. You have this core or the center of this wheel, and then you have this spokes here, right? So what this center is representing in this wheel, the center is talking about core technologies, right? This basic core technologies like, doing well in physics, or you can say your expertise in chemistry, metals and electronics and science and other things, basic science. And these are the activities that you find in the center, and what you find in the peripheral area is some simple things. Like once you have developed this technology of making aeroplanes and things like that, then you can learn how to make wheels for aeroplanes, and other simple items can be made here, right, in this part. And this is what is going on. This high-end technologies, innovations and all these things, they do take place in this core areas, or core items are developed by these countries like Germany, Japan, US and other countries, and simple items are produced by this country. So this is a big difference, right? Most of this is core technologies. They also win Nobel Prize. 3D printing technology, that can change the way shirts and shoes and toys and other things are made are just one example. You find all these things in developed countries and not in our countries. The other thing is all these countries like USA, Japan and Germany, they are master of this core techniques. They have invested heavily in investment, or they have invested in this money wise. They have invested time, energy, research and development is a big thing over there. Their policies are designed in such a way that it can promote all this R&D and other things. In our country, or you can say in our world, right, we don't find that much importance being given to this R&D and other things. This is a very sad thing for our country. We are more focused on these peripheral items and not core items. We are here somewhere. So basically, even today we are trying to, what we are trying to get is this Apple production becoming here. Apple in the sense phone, Apple phone, or laptops and other things, or other electronic items getting produced here. Toyota cars being made here rather than our cars, right? Mahindra and Tata and other companies reaching to such a level that we can compete with Mercedes and other items. We, even when we think about it, we don't feel that confidence because we are not good in this sort of core technologies. We are good in other things but not good in these things. Now you have both the things, right? Opportunities and threats, but we can grab both these things here. When I say both these things, I mean to say that, see, you have this core technologies. We can develop core technologies. We are doing good with this production or this peripheral activities, but we can focus on core technologies, so we can produce, we can have new innovations in our country. At the same time, we can make sure production also is done in our country. And we have seen so far that if you are good with this core technologies or core things, then this is not going to help us. See this Germany, US and other countries, they cannot produce things that cheaply in, reasonably, or in that cheap price or rate in their countries. So they have to send it over here, and we are not good in this core things. So we are dependent on each other. But if we want to boost Make in India, then we have to focus. We are good in this. We need to improve these things. We need to get more machineries, like you can say factory machineries should be made more automated and intelligent. We need to have industrial R&D centers and things like that. We have to adopt this 3D printing, nanotechnology, precision mechanical devices, so that we can produce more complex products. And if you see these electronic items, most of the times we are importing it. This screen is coming from somewhere else. Basically, we are doing this simple item here, simple thing, assembling it over here. So we can, if we see and go through countries like China, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, China, then we find that 15% of their GDP is coming from this electronic items. So it will, if we are producing it here, good quality one, then our import bill will come down. It will create more jobs, and then we need to invest in this not that high tech technology, simple technologies, simple factories of producing footwear, toys and other things. This will create jobs, and it will be first step for this informal sector workers as well as agriculture workers. We can transport or transfer them to formal sector, and step by step we can work on both these ends, peripheral activity as well as core technologies. And if we do this thing, this Atal Tinkering Lab and all these things can help us, and we can grab this opportunity, and we can boost Make in India if we focus on both these things. That's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.